All right, guys, here we go. We are back for another episode of the 85th anniversary Batman celebration of McFarlane's DC Multiverse line, celebrating the live action Batman movies. Earlier today, we've already covered Adam West, Michael Keaton, Val Kilmer, George Clooney, Christian Bale, and now we're looking at Batfleck. Yep, Ben Affleck as Batman. We'll talk a little bit about the controversial casting, and we'll get this toy open. We'll take a look at all its glory in the movie that set up the Justice League. And I don't know what else I can say about it other than we're going to open this toy. So let's get to it. All right, the next figure in our movie Batman collection series celebrating Batman's 85th anniversary is, of course, none other than Ben Affleck from Batman and Superman: Dawn of Justice. And you can see we've got that lot of accessories here. Of course, that card in the background. There's the side. On the back, we have that great poster artwork from Batman v Superman with Batman staring down Superman. And on the right, of course, we have the expected and typical design of these McFarlane DC Universe figures. Of course, these are all 7-inch. The nice thing with these display boxes, it does have that top cutout so that the light shines down into the box, really accentuating the figure inside. Same with the light panel on the right side, allowing you to see in, get a good look at the side of the figure on the shelf. McFarlane does a great job in these large format figure packages. Of course, they get a little wider when they have a Build-A-Figure or a Collect-A-Figure, Collect-A-Build, whatever McFarlane calls these. But here is Ben Affleck's controversial Batman actor. So let's jump in and take a look at this figure. All right, here we are, Ben Affleck's Batman from Dawn of Justice. And before we jump into this figure, let's take a look at these accessories. First up, we have, of course, our grappling gun, a staple of all the Batman movies. We have a batarang. We have another batarang. And we have a couple of fists. So nice to get some extra hands, some accessories. Of course, here we have our collector card. And on the back, there is the data file. So let's take a look at those. And really, this figure has a lot of detail. I wonder, as you compare the chest, did we get really that chest? Of course, not really. I mean, definitely puffed out way more on the Ben Affleck real picture. We also have the Bat logo sticks out way more. It's just a slight bump here and here. It's like a big old piece of plastic glued onto that chest, which I think takes away from the beefy chest of the Ben Affleck Batman. I think what they did here is run kind of with the same proportions of their other Batman figures, but Ben Affleck has a more wide body, and so this doesn't match Ben Affleck's physique that he had in the movie exactly, but you get the idea. It's close. It's on par. But let's take a look at this figure closer. Of course, we have this nice gold belt that does seem to be molded separately, but is glued on there. Right away, I noticed the trunks are a little vinyl or rubber, but so we get a little movement. They don't come down as much, so they don't restrict as much. Of course, you're not going to get a full seated position on this figure, unlike some of the other ones. One of the nice things, as I examined this figure a little bit, was the head movement on this one is considerably better. right? You got all kinds of up, down gets about as far as you're going to go, but the up goes way up. Very nice to see. We got the typical butterfly joints. They are a lot tighter on this figure, but they are there. Of course, rotating arms, double hinged, all the same articulation that we've seen on all these other figures with the double knees, the double elbows, the hinged feet that can rotate, but not a lot of movement otherwise when it comes to the legs. So let's put him back on the stand. I do really like that McFarlane gives you these stands. Unfortunately, the legs on a lot of these, I don't know if it's from being in that package or just the lack of articulation, they don't come together real well. So one leg is typically hanging off these stands, which is kind of frustrating. The nice thing about this particular figure is we're back to that cloth cape. So much better than the rubber cape, in my opinion. But again, no metal wire, so you're not going to get much posability. But, with a fan, things like that, you can make some motion come out of this figure, which you cannot do with a rubber cape. So let's play around with this a little bit, see if we can't get an action pose or two out of this guy. So this is really the best attempt I could do, because again, those legs just do not have the range of motion we need. So here's the Batman crouched over, staring up at the camera. Pretty iconic shot of the character. Again, some wire in that cape would really allow us to spread that out good. But the legs continue to be a problem. There's just not enough articulation in there to get that superhero crouch that modern movies have made so famous. It's another pose that comes directly from a still, promotional photo shoot of the character. And really this one, I think, is really going to let you see truly how much they didn't get Ben Affleck's torso correct in this outfit. And of course, you can see him there side by side. You can see just how much more bulky Ben Affleck is in this image than what our figure is. Again, that chest sticks out a lot more, the rib cage. He's just a thicker human being. He has a shorter neck. This figure has a nice long neck. Ben Affleck doesn't really have that with the cowl and everything on. He also has a wider head than our sculpt does. So again, that's a little disappointing that this figure so deviates from the actual actor, because that's kind of what we're going for in this line, right? We want this accurate sculpt of the actor in their outfit to really represent Batman in these movies. And of course, Dawn of Justice, really from the Snyderverse, was one of these films that, kind of met with some controversy, some mid-level success. Of course, released in 2016. It was the big kickoff and setup for Justice League, which, as we know, Zack Snyder left due to death in his family. Was turned over to Josh Whedon, who... Josh Whedon, I said that wrong. But anyway, really did not... do justice to his vision. So they completely tried to change the story, even though it was mostly done. Filming was mostly done. Completely changed the whole idea. Of course, that led to the whole Snyder cut, which is a much more dark version of Justice League. And quite honestly, I thought was considerably better than Joss Whedon's version. Of course, he didn't have the distracting CGI to remove Superman's beard or mustache during the reshoots, which was great to, have a normal looking Superman in the movie. But neither one was very good. Let's be honest. Like, these DC movies tend to throw too many characters in, not enough story building. And Dawn of Justice was no different. I think that's really when we saw the introduction of the Flash and Aquaman and Wonder Woman makes her appearance in there. And of course, obviously, Doomsday at the end. But, you know, of course, we got to throw in Lex Luthor. You know, just name a villain. We got to throw him in there. Name a character. We're going to throw him in there. DC just continues to make that mistake in their movies. And it's kind of frustrating because, in my opinion, they have a better lineup of characters than Marvel does, but they don't spend any time developing those characters so mass audiences can get to know them better than the superficial storylines. That's really the genius that Marvel did by focusing on individual movies with individual characters and not trying to throw everybody and their brother in there. Maybe you get a cameo at the end to tease you on how they connect, but that's essentially it, right? And that's the mistake that DC continues to make even to this day as they get ready to release a whole nother line of movies, and why we've had so many different Batman actors over the years. So, you know, I kind of went off on a tirade there. Got to do that this far into the 85th Batman Day, you know, 85th anniversary on Batman Day. It's actually the 11th Batman Day, but, you know, we're talking all things Batman, so it's bound in one of these figure videos to, you know, go off on a tangent on some of the disappointment in some of the movies over the years. But, you know, who doesn't love Batman? So here we are wrapping up Batfleck in Superman Dawn of Justice. I would really like to see McFarlane release an armored Batman from this movie. You know, obviously that's the iconic finale of the film with Superman, and they haven't made one yet that I found. I mean, maybe they made one and it was exclusive somewhere, but I couldn't find any. So we'll move in to the next Batman, which surprisingly is gonna be another Batfleck. But let's go take a look at that one and wrap things up here, shall we? All right, guys, that was the Ben Affleck Batman from Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice. Of course, we are now in the Snyderverse, checking out the Batflecks moving forward. Next up is going to be Ben Affleck in the Justice League. Of course, gone will be Zack Snyder for directing that film, who left at the last minute and passed that over to Joss Whedon. And we will talk about the impact of that change, take a look at the next Batfleck figure, and it should be a good one. So make sure you join us. So smash the like button, hit subscribe, ring that bell for notifications so you don't miss that video. And until then, have fun.